Good evening, everyone. On behalf of NELCoNS, I'd like to warmly welcome all of you to tonight's Community of Practice session. This webinar is part of our ongoing series of NELCoNS webinars, where we aim to share best practices, classroom strategies, and practical insights to support English teachers in the northern zone of Sabah and beyond. Tonight's session will be interactive, so your active participation is encouraged. If you have questions during the talk, please type them in the live chat and we will address them accordingly. At the end of the session, we will share the attendance link for your e-certificate along with a Padlet for your reflections. And don't forget to follow the NELCoNS Facebook page for updates on our upcoming webinar in the series. We have a very special guest speaker tonight. Join me in welcoming Dr. Mohammad Tazli Azizan. He is an educator, researcher, and educational consultant specializing in innovative pedagogy, micro-credentials, and the meaningful integration of AI in teaching and learning. He serves as the Associate Professor at Center for Lifelong Learning, Universiti Brunei Darussalam, and is the co-founder of Scholar Malaysia, where he leads initiatives that empower educators to adopt 21st century teaching approaches. A Canva verified expert and HRD Corp accredited trainer, Dr. Tazli actively designs and facilitates workshops across Malaysia and Brunei, focusing on active learning, cooperative problem-based learning, digital upskilling, and AI-enhanced instruction. His work bridges academic research and practical classroom application, helping educators design authentic assessments and sustainable learning experiences. Dr. Tazli, welcome. How are you this evening?
Thank you, Dr. Betty, for inviting me for this program. So I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us as well and sharing your expertise with our community. So without further ado, I invite Dr. Tazli to begin his session on creating active learning activities with Canva. So over to you, Doctor.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Betty, and the team from Northern English Language Teachers Collaboration Network Sabah. Okay, that's a very long name. NELCoNS. It's a COP, and I feel it's for warmly welcoming me for this session. So today for this 1 hour session, I'll be sharing with you about how to create active learning activities with Canva. As being introduced, I am currently also a Canva verified expert from Malaysia. In Malaysia, we only have 2 Canva verified experts. The first one is Don. I think some of you know about Don. So Don is the first Canva verified expert, and I'm the second one. And I'm focused more on as the educational expert, for which I try to integrate pedagogy in teaching and learning with using Canva as well as AI. Okay, so let me share my screen first. Okay, to those who would like to join me to get the slides, basically you can just look at the comment that for example, yeah, I think I couldn't give the link, but perhaps I think I can share the link with the team so that you can share it out to those who actually are watching. Okay, the technical team may be able to share it because I just shared through the chat. Yeah, because I think I'm not able to share di sini, but yeah, okay, they are there. All right, so you can try to copy the link that is actually at the comment section, and you can join me. Every one of you can join me, so you can make the slides, but I just hope that you don't modify anything with the slides. Okay, I think I need, even though sometimes I give the warning, I need to be very careful, so I just need to make sure that I lock the slide. Okay, let me do the locking first while every one of you join the slides. Now it's good. Okay. So, yes, today we're going to talk about creating active learning activities with Canva and how we're going to be able to turn the passive lessons into engaging learning experience. Right. But the big problem here, most of the time, we think that when we create some nice slides, for example, like these slides, very nice slides, we think that we are engaging with students, but apparently it's not. If you know that based on the Dale Cone of Learning, it was actually established in 1969, if I'm not mistaken. They are actually a pyramid of learning for which, for example, like if let's say I just give lecture, or I just ask my student to read, or if I just ask my student to watch what I'm saying, so those are still considered as passive learning. And the students, after a while, they could not remember about what they have learned, what they have read, and what they have listened. But in order for them to make them really active, you need to make them participative in your session. It's not only through going through the lessons, just for example, like we are doing chalk and talk, we're just sitting at the front and we just show a very nice, beautiful slides. Because beautiful slides, it does not guarantee active learning. So of course, I know that many teachers use Canva to create attractive materials, but the problem still remain, which is, for example, like the students may still be passive. So the next question is, I would like every one of you to participate in this whiteboards. Okay, so if let's say every one of you go to this page, third page, and I would like you to take one of the sticky notes over here. So you just need to do is bring along the sticky notes, and then try to share with me what does active learning means. Okay, so for example, you can just write down active learning means apa. Okay, so every one of you, with those who actually joined the slides, you may participate together with me in page 3. Okay, just take any sticky note, available sticky notes, bring it over to the center, and then you may start to write down something. What do you think active learning means? Okay, without asking ChatGPT, without checking the answer on the next slide, or actually without going anywhere. So just think, put your own thoughts. What does active learning means to you? Okay, right. So I have Dr. Betty participating right now. I have Ash. I have Tarsia here. I have Cikgu Marta, Teacher Marta, right? Okay, who else? Puan Elinetti. And then I have Cikgu Philemon. Okay. So please just take whatever sticky notes that we have and then bring it to the middle and just write it down. Just please don't sabotage other people's work. That's all. Okay. So Teacher Hana, student active participation in class. Right. Cikgu Philemon is student drawing from the prior knowledge to make sense of the input given. Okay. Who else? Active learning means the student engage in learning with collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. I think, yeah. Okay. New learning method in digital era. Okay, this is from Cikgu Marta, Teacher Marta. Okay, I need to call everyone teacher because these are all English teachers. Okay. And then we have Teacher Freddy. So Freddy, input and output process are present. Okay. Dr. Betty said active learning means every student is engaged and on task. Okay, someone said here, I don't know who, active learning means students are actively participating in the lesson. Okay, right. I think you are almost close to the answers. That's very good. Then you have some ideas that active learning is not simply just, making the students running around the class. Okay. Active learning is not like that, because some people may say, oh, we just make fun in terms of learning, then that's considered as active learning. Not really. Okay. student providing output instead of just receiving input. Okay, that's a good start. Active learning is two-way learning, right? Okay, cool. Okay, so now I'm going to bring you to slide 4 here to really explore what does active learning really means. So active learning is just not a fun activities, okay? It makes you think, it makes you discuss, it allows you to make decisions, it allows you to create something, it allows the students to explain, and it allows the students to reflect. So if let's say all these kind of activities is taking place inside our class, that means our class is delivering active learning. You are delivering active learning. So it's not just fun activities. For example, what we did just now, I prepared a whiteboard, a Canva whiteboard. Okay, the previous slide is what we call as Canva whiteboard. So I prepared a Canva whiteboard to you, and everybody is participating in this whiteboard. Everybody is trying to give thoughts, brainstorming in a way that just now what you're doing is actually you put your thinking, you put your thoughts inside here. So this is what we call as active learning. Okay, so active learning means that everybody is participating inside the class. So just now you are thinking, but at the same time, of course, when you are in the class, you can allow the student to discuss. So for example, like before the students put their own thoughts, for example, they may be able to discuss. If you ever heard about a practice called like think, pair, share, for example, that is a very simple way of conducting active learning. Students are allowed to think alone individually for the 30 seconds, for example, 1 minute, and then you ask them to pair up, and then they are actually discussing with each other what will be the answer. And after that, you may ask them to maybe the representative of the team put it down on Canva and share the answer, for example. So that is actually a very simple way of how you can allow active learning to take place. And this is actually a simple active learning formula that you can adopt in your class. First thing first is we start with the input. Input could be, for example, like from your content. So for example, like you're giving a lecture, you're talking about photosynthesis, and then you ask a question, for example. So what does it mean by photosynthesis, for example? What do you think? Maybe it's not a question, what does it mean by photosynthesis? Maybe students are clueless because they don't have the answer. So for example, like maybe you can ask question, how does the plant survive? What do you think? So maybe student can start to answer. For example, like, oh, we need to give them water, they eat through, etc., etc., etc. And those are the kind of answers that you will get from the student. And that is actually a triggering question, for example, for them before you start with the new things or new content that you want to teach them. Or maybe you give them a problem. For example, like our school is lack of water. So how can we do to ensure that our school got fresh water, for example? So that is actually what we call as giving an input, giving a context, giving a content, or giving a problem. And then after that, you allow the student to do interaction. So for example, like the students are discussing, collaborating, trying to solve the problem, trying to actually brainstorm what would be the idea. So for example, if let's say how to get fresh water for the school, for example, so they will need to discuss with each other. And then after that, they will need to give output. Output could be, for example, like in terms of the product, in terms of explanation, and as well as responses for certain question that you give to them. And finally, before we end the class, this is where actually we put up the reflection. So a very simple formula that you should have inside your class is input, interaction, output, and finally reflection. And sometimes this is also something that I have discovered. I came across with some of the teachers. They complain that I don't have enough time to complete my syllabus. This is something that we have to be creative about when we are implying, when we are executing active learning. Okay, when we are applying active learning inside our class. Sometimes the syllabus doesn't have to be covered by us. Let the students uncover the syllabus. Have you heard about that? Okay, have you heard about students uncover their own syllabus instead of we have to cover the syllabus? So sometimes there are certain questions, certain prompt that we give to the student to allow the student to think on their own, and after that, we try to actually integrate that. In our teaching. Okay, so that is considered as active learning. All right. Um, the next thing, then of course we are going to use Canva, for example. So for one of the tools that we have to actually, I think you have to make full use of it to use student-centered learning approach is Canva. On top of that, you can also use AI for that. I realize that many of the teachers, they are using Canva mostly to create posters, to create infographics, to create something for the school, for example. But very rarely using Canva for the teaching and learning practice. Maybe they just create using Canva is just, for example, to create worksheets, but they didn't allow the student to use Canva inside the class. So this is a practice that you may want to change. You may want to actually allow the students to work together using Canva. So for example, Canva itself, it can make student thinking visibly. It can allow the student to do visual thinking. Okay, because for example, like students sometimes they have certain things in their mind. There is no clarity inside their mind, and you want them to actually really put their thoughts, really make their thinking visible. So Canva is one of the feature that you can use. So you can allow to do visual thinking, you can allow them to have collaboration, and you can also have some templates for them to use. You can also make use of Canva whiteboard, for example, Canva presentation, so they can do presentation in the class. And then you can also generate some of the idea with AI, okay, also in Canva. And you can also have student created outputs. Okay, so this is actually why Canva works for active learning. And most importantly, in order for you to create active learning with Canva, I have a Canva framework for you. Okay, so this is actually a Canva framework. So you can actually use this framework in your class in order for you to create the activities or active learning strategies inside your class. The first thing, C represent clarify the learning outcome. Okay, first thing first is you have to clarify what are the learning outcome, what is actually the intention that you conduct the class for today, what is the aim that you want to achieve by the end of the day. For example, like I want to make sure that my students apply some grammar um grammar about something, for example, an English teacher, I forgot about things already. You want to apply some grammar, for example, nouns or adjective, inside the class. You want the keyword is apply the adjective. So this is actually your learning outcome. The second one is you need to activate prior knowledge. Okay, activate prior knowledge means that before you start with teaching them new knowledge, you have to actually relate with the prior knowledge that they already have. So this is where actually you need to engage with them. Okay, students, can you recall back what we have learned for the last lesson, for example? Then maybe you create a whiteboard for them, and then they'll be able to brainstorm together. So this is what we call as activate prior knowledge. And then the third one is what we call as navigate the problem or task. So maybe you are teaching them about adjective, but in between of that kind of teaching, you may want to insert some kind of activities so that the students can really relate to what you are teaching. Okay, so this is what we call as navigate the problem or task. And then you want them to have some output. So that's why you need to visualize the thinking. And finally, you want them to reflect what they are learning. So this is the process of articulate and reflect. So if we look at clearly into the deeper part, for example, like you want to clarify the learning outcome. So you need to start with what the students must learn. Okay, this is what I said as what is our intended learning outcome. By the end of that session, what do you want the student to achieve? This must be clear first. We need to be clear with our intended learning outcome. Otherwise, what are we doing may not be aligned. I just take an example of, for example, you want the students to be able to write an essay, okay? But then the activities that you do in the class is just entirely, you just give instruction. If you want to write the essay, you do like this, like this, like this, like this. And then for the next 30 minutes, the next 40 minutes, it's just entirely lecture. And then you give final assessment, you ask them to bring home, okay, now go and write an essay about this topic. Do you think that the students will be able to get what they want? Of course not, right? student may not be able to achieve that. Student may not be able to write a good essay because there are no activities inside the class that is aligned to your intention. So your intention is not aligned with the activities and as well as the assessment. So that is very important. First thing first is we need to clarify the learning outcome that you want to do. That's number one. So for example, the given example here, students should be able to explain the causes of water pollution. Okay, so explain. The keywords here is explain. So explain means that it must have, students must be able to do some kind of discussion activities, and then you may want them maybe randomly to present something. So that is what does it mean by explain, right? So you want to assess that. So before you open the Canva, you need to decide first whether you want the student to understand, explain, analyze, apply, create, or solve. So if you can be able to recall the Bloom taxonomy, you need to decide on that one first. That's number one. Second one is you need to activate the prior knowledge. Okay. So for example, like you need to allow the student to bring what they already know and what they have learned before and what they want to know in order for them to solve problems. So let's go back to, for example, this one. Students should be able to explain causes of water pollution. Okay. So from here, maybe you are explaining them something, and then you can do some activities with them. For example, like we can use this KWL board. So if let's say I bring you to Canva, we go to the next page at page 10, you can see that this is one of the template that we can use, which is KWL chart. So the student can randomly, for example, like, what do you know about water pollution? So maybe some of the student, they can just put no, just write down about no. What do they want to learn? For example, like maybe for example, aerosol can lead to water pollution. Does, for example, solid stuff ataupun does pee, for example, kan? Peeing in the river, does it cause water pollution? Maybe they want to write that. Okay. So those are actually the trigger question that made them wondering what actually that cause water pollution. And then after a while, they may actually put another sticky notes inside here. Then they just want to say what they have learned about what actually caused water pollution. So they be able to, for example, like relate their before and after understanding. So this is what we call as activating their prior knowledge. And just to activate this, for example, as simple as if let's say you have a slides like this, and then you are sharing with your student, and then you just go here and add plus button, and then just need to go to whiteboard, add the whiteboard. And then we go to the template, and then we just start KWL chart. So the chart will appear over here, click over here, and then that's it. You'll be able to have this chart. So if let's say you want to make the students, there are a group of students to do that all together. So what we can do is you just need to duplicate this chart. So for example, like, okay, I just need to group this together. Okay. And then I just need to Control C and then Control V. So I have another one, and then Control V. So I have another one here. So I have, for example, like if let's say I have 5 groups of students inside my class, so I just label this accordingly. So for example, like this is, for example, like this is group A. So I just label this. This is group A. Control C, Control V. So this is gonna be group B, right? And then this is gonna be group C. So you can just basically assign the student later on. So for example, like you want the student to participate, you just need to click here, share, and then just make sure that student, anyone with the link can edit and then copy the link. So when you copy the link and then you give to your student, so your student will be able to join the session. Okay. Maybe, for example, like the laptop, the computer, maybe not enough. So that's why sometimes you need to do collaborative activities with this, so that maybe 2 or 3 of them can do together, concentrate on one side. And then another group of students can go to another side, and so on and so on. Okay. So that is actually how you be able to activate the, what do you call that? The active learning using Canva whiteboard. So this is one of the strategy. Otherwise, you can also just use one single whiteboard like this. Okay. Maybe you just say, okay, one group going here. And then what you have to do is just need to duplicate the page. So right now what I'm doing is I just duplicate my page. And then I just said to my student, okay, group A, you will go to page 11. Group B, you will go to page 12. Group C, you will go to page 13. And then I would like you to answer over there so that the student doesn't sabotage each other lah. All right. So maybe it depends. So if let's say your class number is quite small, maybe this might work. But if let's say the class size is quite big, you may want to actually using something like this. So you may allow the students go to a different page, for example. So this is one of the way how you can actually encourage the student to be participative in your class activities. All right. Next, move to the next slide. And so we have actually, first thing first, we need to be very clear about our learning outcomes. And then we need to activate the prior knowledge. And the third one is we need to navigate the problem or task. So for example, here, you want to give students some meaningful challenge. Challenge means that something that is not that too difficult, but it's also not that too easy. So it is something manageable for their appropriate, for their age lah, for their level. So for example, like you give a scenario to them. Your school wants to reduce plastic waste. So you need to identify problem, causes, possible solution, best solution, as well as action plan. Okay. So let me share with you, there are one tool in Canva that you can do this. We call it as create learning activities. Any one of you have used this before? Creating learning activities? Okay. So if you want to use creating learning activities, what you have to do is you just need to go to home. You need to go to the left side. That's what we call as Canva AI. Okay. Maybe I just open another slide over here. Okay. So you click on the left side, Canva AI. And then in your education account, it will come out something like this. So what you can do straight away is you want to create student activities. Okay. So student activities. So you just need to mention, okay, for example, like I want my student to do short activities in the class around 10 to 15 minutes, okay, on ways to reduce plastic waste at school. Okay, so what is your intention? I want them to be able to collaborate in a small team, okay, to discuss what are the possible causes of plastic waste at school, and I want them to find several solutions and pick the best one. Okay, so this is actually the activity that you want them to do, for example. And then you need to decide which year that you are going to give them. For example, like they are at standard 5. So this is year 5 lah. Okay, darjah 5. And then, for example, like you want to give them as a subject of science, maybe because that is part of science. And then the learning purpose, you can also highlight here. You want them to do some analysis. So you just click analyze. All right. And then after that, just click this button and allow Canva to create activities for you. So identify causes and solution for plastic waste at school. Students will be able to work collaboratively in small group to discuss possible causes of plastic waste at school, brainstorm multiple solutions, and select the best solution based on group discussion. Right. So here I can pick one of the activity. They come up with 3 activities, so I can just pick one. Maybe I'd start with this one. And then after that, I just click generate. Okay, so here, we'll wait until it generate for us. How many of you have tried it before? Oh, sorry, I think I have not shared that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, Doctor, we cannot see the one that you're
let me actually share again, because I think I'm sharing based on, I should share Windows. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll show you again, okay? So here, what you have to do is you need to click on Canva AI. I hope that you can see right now. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is Canva AI. Okay, so what you have to do is first thing first, on the left side, click on Canva AI, and then you will be able to see in your education account there is a create student activities. So you just need to click here, and then you need to discuss here, say that I want my students to have short collaborative activities, maybe between 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so they can discuss how to solve plastic waste issues at school, for example, because we go specific to school. I want them to identify the causes and then finding several solutions and decide the best solution, okay, within the time given. All right, so maybe you want to select year. This is maybe for standard 5, okay, and then subject maybe science, and then the learning purpose is they need to do some analysis, for example, because they need to analyze some solutions and then find the best one. And then you just click this one, submit. Okay, so when you submit, the AI will try to read for you. So for example, what will be the learning objective? Identify causes and propose solution to plastic waste school. Student be able to identify the causes of plastic waste, yada yada yada. And then after that, they give you several choice of activities. So you need to select which one that you want lah. For example, like rate the solution, rapid solution brainstorm, or cause and effect, plastic waste. Maybe I choose this one. So if I choose this one, then I click generate. Okay, so we have to wait lah until it finally generate. Okay, but meanwhile, I just generated one tadi. So I can just bring you over here. So this is the example of the activities that have been generated by Canva. So for example, like they give you an instruction with your grip, read each course and match it. So for example, if let's say I zoom it a bit, okay, read each course and match it to what it leads to school, thought, draw lines, add your own ideas, and then give you some idea tips and reminders. So for example here, so it gave plastic rubbish at school is a big problem for Emma and Jack. They want to know why there is so much plastic in the stars. You will work in teams, find reason for plastic waste, link each cause to the effect it has, then up and choose the best idea to fix the problem. You will then share your map and favorite fix with your class. Let's clean up our school together. All right. So it gives you some idea here. So which one that you think is the answer? For example, like what are the main reason for so much plastic rubbish at our school? So the student will use this template and then they will to discuss whether this is something that they like. And then they when they have this course, they will write what will be the effect over here. So they're gonna write here. So this is actually they give a sample, right? And then maybe they'll just need to pick this and then put it over here, for example. So this is the answer given already because they wanted it to be very short, right? And so this is actually one of the activities that they could do within a short time. Maybe if let's say we look at other templates that have been ready. So for example, like we go back here. Okay, so this is actually another generated activities. Yeah, I think this is a similar activity. Cause and effect and change, right? So this is Sam and Aisha. So they give you some idea. So you give to the student maybe 10 minutes. They will need to be able to discuss, and then after that, they will need to be able to talk about what caused the effect and how they actually they solve it. Okay. So this is the example of the activities. So right now, if let's say you have a slides like this and you want to integrate that activities coming to these slides, for example, how do you do that? So as simple as, so for example, here, I just need to include the whiteboard. I just need to add plus button whiteboard. And then I just go to my left and go to my project. So what I have to do is I just need to find plastic waste just now. Okay, this is actually plastic waste. So I just click this here. And then now the answer, the activity appeared over here already. Okay, so I can bring from Canva AI that I created, and then it can become activity so that the students can do this activity. So as easy as that, you can create worksheets for your student. You can create active learning activity for your students. Okay. Right. So the next thing, once we have actually activating the end part, navigate the problem or task, we can actually start to visualize the thinking. So for example, like the students already have this idea about how to solve school plastic waste. And you may also go next is for them to visualize the thinking. So for example, like you want them to use you already have they already have idea what is the effect, what caused the school plastic waste, for example, and then you want them to visualize the solution. So maybe you can give them idea. For example, like, okay, I would like you to create an infographic, for example. I would like you to create a concept map. I would like you to create some comparison table and so on. So you ask the student to do it inside the class. Okay, you give the student time. Maybe you can ask them, all right, maybe you can just prompt with ChatGPT first and then get some ideas. And then after that, bring it over to Canva, start to find the template and create infographic. So that is actually how you can encourage students to have active learning activities with you. You don't create for them, you ask the student to create for them. Okay, so that is actually visualize the thinking. And then the next step is we articulate and reflect. So what does it mean by articulate and reflect is, first thing first is you need to do some kind of activities, such as you need them to have one slide explanation. For example, like they create the infographic, they share it in the class, so everybody is sharing the output. And then you can ask them to do mini presentation, or they can make reflection card with Canva. You can have exit ticket poster. So for example, like you can give them a reflection prompt. One thing that I learned, one thing that I still don't understand, one question that I want to ask, anything, any kind of question. You don't give them, for example, like you don't say to them, please write the reflection of today's session. Of course, they are gonna be a bit blur lah. Reflection to apa? What is actually reflection, right? So they're not sure. But you need to be very clear about the prompt. So what do you learn about this activity just now, for example? So they may be able to actually share their thoughts. So how do they share the thoughts? Again, you can go to Canva whiteboard. For example, this is an example of what I have. This is actually team reflection activities, because they have done some discussion before. So what they can do is actually they can go team reflection. All right. So how do you find this? Again, you just go to here, and then you just need to type team reflection, and then you'll be able to find any kind of template that you can choose from here. So I already choose this template. So for example, like they can brainstorm what they like about the activities that they do, what they have learned, what they think that they are lack of when they have shared the output, the presentation, what are the feedback that they got, for example, what they are long for, what are the things that they really want to have for example. So, and then they will just need to write down their key takeaways. So how do we do best next time? Okay, so that is actually what we call as reflection activities. Okay, so so we start first with clearing with the if I could recall back, we start first with clear with the learning outcome. That's number one. Second one is we need to activate the prior knowledge. Before we give them some activities, before we give them some content, we try to activate prior knowledge first, just to check whether they have misconception or the right conception. Okay, and then after that, we need to do we start when we start to lecture, and after that we stop for a while, we give them a problem so that they'll be able to discuss inside the class. And then we can actually give them, for example, like some template. So for example, like this is a template that they can use, problem solving session. So they need to define the problem, what are the root cause, solution ideas. So here, similarly, to find this template, just type over here, okay, problem solving, and then they'll be able to get some templates. And then once you have this activity done, you want them to visualize the thinking. So this is where actually you want them to use Canva, use the template available whatsoever, try to create something, create presentation slide, create some content like infographic and so on. And then after that, you ask them to articulate and reflect, sharing it out. And then after that, you give them feedback and ask them to write reflection. Okay. So I hope that you can see the whole flow, how actually that active learning can be done using Canva inside the class. Right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So for example, if let's say right now you want to do some activities, okay, I would like to give you maybe few minutes. If let's say you may want to try, okay, and I'm giving you time so that actually you can share your work in the next whiteboard over here. I would like you to try to use the learning activity again. So if you go back to home in Canva, and then you click on Canva AI, okay, and then I would like you to create student activities for your student. So once you have it, okay, once you have the item, something like this, I would like you to share this. Okay, you click share, and then you can just click anyone with the link, can edit, just need to copy the link and bring it to the slide 20. So I would like to share over here, Control V, so you'll be able to get the content, the activities ready. So let's say I give you 5 minutes to do so. Is it possible, everyone? Okay, so let me stop sharing first. Meanwhile, I will answer some of the questions. Okay. There is a question here. How can we adapt Canva activities for different proficiency levels? Okay. I think one of these things that you can do is you may want to actually, so for example, like you need to understand first, of course, we need to first is actually to understand the level of our students lah. That's number one lah. And then I would recommend if let's say you have this particular student, you don't start first with Canva activity. You may want to start maybe use, for example, start with using ChatGPT. Using ChatGPT, and then you just mention to ChatGPT that I have these particular students. Few of them, they are not very good in English. Some of them are very excellent, you know, and I would like to create differentiated learning activities for them using Canva. So what would be your suggestion? So ChatGPT will give you some suggestion, and then you can proceed with the conversation saying that, okay, now let's focus on my weak students. So give me some prompts that I can use in Canva AI so I can create activities for them. And then, okay, I've done with the activity. Now give me some prompts so that I can create another activity for advanced student. Okay, so those are actually the things that you can do lah while if let's say you have students with different proficiency. That's number one. Second one is, of course, you can always group the student in a way that some of the students to become guru muda, okay, or the one who are proficient. So you can actually put them together and collaborate together so that they can also guide the students to actually complete the task together. Okay, so that is also another approach that you can try. Okay, so I give a few more times for you to just try first with your Canva AI.
Okay, yeah, doctor. While waiting, maybe you can I can ask you some questions.
Sure.
How can teachers use Canva in low resource classroom? Because in Sabah we
Okay.
always have this unstable
Right.
internet connection.
Very good question. Very good question because recently Canva just released one new function, new feature. Okay. The feature is, they call it Canva offline. Canva offline means that, for example, like you have created the slides and you be able to allow this just the design to take place even there is no internet. Okay, so for example, like I have these slides. So what I have to do here is I just go to the cloud over here and I just say make available offline. So for example, before you go to school, if let's say you have internet at home, make your design go offline first. So later, when the internet goes out, for example, you can still do some design activities. Minimum punya ni lah. Maksudnya you cannot use, I think you cannot use AI because AI still require internet. But any templates, any elements that is already existing in Canva, you can use that. Okay, so that is actually the tips lah. Just timely question because Canva just released this thing last April. Yeah. Any more question? And if you have any question while actually you're trying to play with the learning activities? Okay.
Yeah, doctor, can you just repeat the instruction just now? Probably some of us just join,
Okay,
or they
sure.
might be confused with what they have
All
to
right.
do.
So what I would like you to do is, let's say we go to home. Okay, so this is home page, and then you click on the left. There is Canva AI. So in Canva AI, I would like you to click create student activities. Okay, and after that, you need to decide your student. Dr. Betty, are you teaching Dr. Betty, or you just working at PPD? Dr. Betty, are you there? So for example, like, I just take an example lah. Maybe because we relate to English, right? I would like to teach my 11 years old students about adjective for English subject. Okay. And maybe you just said that I want them to apply adjectives in their sentences. Okay. So maybe you can just give this idea. And I have mixed ability students. Okay. There are 20 of them, 10 difficult learners, 5 uh, um, normal, what do you call it? 5 average, and 5 excellence. Okay, so the better that you discuss with AI to describe, for example, your student and so on, then the better the output will be. I want the activities to be for 10 minutes only. Okay. And then you just select, okay, it's going to be for year 5 students. And then you're going to be subject is English. Learning purpose is to apply, because you just want them to learn, apply whatever knowledge that you just teach them. And then we create submit button. Okay, so we can just wait over there. All right, so right now they ask you to check your learning objective, apply adjective in sentences, and then we need to choose activities that we could generate. For example, like adjective hunt and sort, adjective sentence challenge, build a character storyboard. Okay, so maybe I choose this one. And then after that, I just click generate. So here, it will generate an activity for me. Okay, so I think so it's almost ready. Yep, so now the activities are ready. So I just click on this. And then of course, before we decide on giving to our student, we just need to check whether this is a correct one or not. Instruction, okay, there is instruction, read the story, highlight the adjective, write each one on a card, sort them by how easy and helpful they are, share your best picks. Okay. And then of course, if let's say you feel that the instruction is too long or too short or not that clear, so you can still repair on this. Okay. All right, today we will help Ellie and Mo have fun at their playground. Adjective tell us more about people and things. We'll find, sort, and share them. Okay, so there is some kind of idea blank. Sparkling. All right, the sparkling side look cool, but the word can be hard to use, right? Adequate. The adequate swing was there. Red, the red ball bounce. Nice, the nice bench is easy to use. Double click to add an idea. So you can also add your own idea in that sense. And then, so what are the things that we have to do is we need, for example, there is a given answer over here. Great for pictures, but hard to fit in a sentence. Okay, great for pictures. So sparkling. For example, dia bagi idea, the playground had a sparkling slide. Sparkling means shining, bright, like lights. Okay, easy words that also show a clear picture or feeling. Okay, maybe this is easy word. Just put nice. All right, easy to use but does not help your picture or feel. Okay, easy to use. What else? Red, hard to use and does not help describe much. Maybe this is hard, adequate. And this is nice over here. And then this is red over here. So the student discuss, for example, like which particular adjective words that is easy to use, and it's also difficult to use, and is, for example, easy to use but does not help your picture or feel. For example, like nice bench. So the word nice to a bench is nice is easy word, but it's difficult to describe. Nice bench. What is nice bench? And then red ball is easy. Red is easy. Okay, and the ball. So it's very something that you can find straight away. And then, for example, adequate, hard to use and does not help describe. Adequate. What is actually adequate? Okay, adequate swing. So it's difficult. Okay, and then another word, sparkling. So it's a great for pictures but hard to find in sentence. Sparkling playground. So it looks like very very glamour lah, that word sparkling, but of course it's difficult. So the students can just do this sort and tell. Based on this they decide which one. So that could just easily take 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the students' time for them to really describe, for example, like this adjective. So they really understand what this adjective is all about. So this is one of the sample of the activities that they can use. Okay. So you got the idea? What Canva strategies would work best for very engaging, very large, low resource class, especially where one teacher handles 70 to 100 students at once? Oh, this is actually quite a large number of students who are actually, but I think this scenario maybe not in Malaysia, right? Maybe, for example, like students in the overseas, for example. Very large low resource classes, I would recommend straight away just use Canva whiteboard. If let's say you are using Canva whiteboard, as I mentioned earlier, you can just duplicate, for example, like this one. So this is the activities that I have just now. So I just need to reset everything back. Okay. So for example, like you have this activity and you want them to do maybe just 3 or 4 of them decide together. So what you can do, you can bring over to the main slide. So let me share again the main slide over here. So just now I have adjective hunt and sort. Okay. And I would like to incorporate this into my main slides here. So I can just do as easy as put one whiteboard, add whiteboard, and then I just go to the activities that I just generate. So for example, like I think the keyword is adjective. So this is the adjective. And right now, because I have so many students that I want to tackle, I don't want them to just go to one one whiteboard and everybody like 70 to 100 students participated in here. So what I'm gonna do next is I just need to duplicate it. That's all. Okay, so maybe I just duplicate 10 pages because there are gonna be 10 groups doing it together. Okay. So for example, like I need to duplicate again and again. Maybe make it more and more until I have enough numbers. So I just say, okay, 3 of you just go to page 21. Another 4 of you here, you go to page 22, and then try to do this activity for the next 10 minutes. Then you'll be able to make them doing active learning activities. All right. Can Canva be used effectively as a whole class tool when there's only the teacher device available and no one-to-one student laptop? All right. I think that's a bit difficult, but it's doable, but it's difficult. Because usually if you want the students to participate using Canva, of course, they need to have some devices with them. Otherwise, what you can do is you can create some kind of apps. Okay, if you know for example, like in Canva, you'll be able to have Canva code. Okay, So here, for example, like if let's say you go to Canva, again, the home page, I bring it to home page, and then you'll be able to create an apps for them to use. So you can prompt here, okay? So this is where actually you'll be able to prompt them, okay, generate an adjective, maybe I say adjective quizzes, interactive quizzes for my students, 11 years old, and then what else? 11 years old, multiple mixed abilities, and it must have some gamification strategies involved, and it has to be it has a different level, okay, for them to advance. Okay, so perhaps we'll be able to generate these apps. So if let's say you only have one device, maybe what you have to do is you just need to ask the student to take turn to play with the apps, for example. So this is also one of the strategy that you can use inside the class. But of course, using Canva only on a single device for you, yeah, it's not that much that you can use. So you need to, for example, like use different kind of strategy, okay, inside inside the class. The most important part is actually you need to use the right approach, pedagogy. For example, like as I mentioned earlier, you can use, for example, like jigsaw activities, and then you can use Canva whiteboard to enhance with that jigsaw activities. You can use, for example, think, pair, share, for example, okay, and then the output you share with on Canva. You can use, for example, like brainstorming. You can use some kind of reflection activity. So these are all the things that you can embed inside Canva. But Canva, again, is just a tool. But most importantly, you start first with the right pedagogical strategy. Okay? Right. Let me bring you back to the slides. So just now, I just prompt question. I just create a Canva code apps. But of course, it's going to take some time for it to be ready. So the next thing that you have to do, so I brought you over the final framework, is actually for you to articulate and reflect. So you need to let the student explain and reflect. And then, so let me see. Okay, I think you're going to take some time as well to generate the activities. That's fine. So actually, these are actually some of the activities, ready to use Canva activities. For example, like you can use the KWL board, think, pair, design. So instead of think, pair, share, so it become think, pair, and design, right? So for example, like the student think of the idea first, and then pair it up, and then together they design something in Canva. And then you can use problem solution canvas, and then you can have a student create one slide so that they'll be able to explain, and then you'll be able to also to use exit ticket poster. So these are actually some of the ready to use Canva activities, which is available from the template itself, okay, and mostly on Canva whiteboard. And of course, there are some common mistakes that you need to avoid. You don't want the Canva to become just another pretty tool. Don't focus too much on design, not learning. And using Canva only for teacher slides, so you can have a very beautiful slide, but the students are not involved in it, so that's not right. And you want to have a clear learning outcome. So for example, if you don't have a clear learning outcome, the activities is nothing, it's not aligned with what you want to achieve. And the activity to open without structure, this is also one thing that you want to avoid. And finally, there is no reflection. So if let's say you don't give reflection to your students, they're not learning anything. So in that sense, I would like every one of you, let's join me in page 27. I would like you, okay, this is how we're going to do. So if let's say every one of you join in page 27, to those who just joined, maybe the technical team can share back the link that I shared earlier, so that you can join. I would like you to go to the tools side, and then I would like you, if you go to the left side, there's going to be tools, and then there's going to be sticky notes. So you can just click here, sticky notes, and then you can pick any color that you want. Okay, so here, this is my sticky notes. So I just bring here to today I learned, and then I'm going to write what I learned today, and then you're going to pick another sticky notes, maybe green one, and then I'm going to put it here. One thing that still confuses me, and then I'm going to pick another sticky notes, and then I'm going to put it over here. I'm interested in learning more about what. So I can just zoom it, and then I just go there. Today I learned about active learning, for example, with Canva. And one thing that still confused me, how to incorporate think pair share, for example, using Canva. Okay, and then I'm interested to learn more about how to integrate Canva and AI in my classroom. Okay, so maybe that would be my output lah. So how about you? So you go to the tools and then pick your sticky notes. Otherwise, you can also type S. So if you type S, then they're gonna be a sticky note appear straight away. Okay, S. And then I can change the color of my sticky notes. Okay, you can type S ataupun you can go to the tools and then pick the sticky notes different color over here. Okay, so you may want to write down what is your thoughts about okay, once you get the sticky note, bring it to the column that you want. And the best thing about Canva, there is a timer. If you notice, actually there is a timer down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 minutes for this activity. And I can also put music actually. So I want to make a bit more upbeat, right? I'm not sure whether I'm sharing sound as well together. Can you listen to any sound? Me? Yeah. Oh no, I think I share this. Sorry, confused. I think apa? StreamYard. Yeah, right now I'm bringing you over to page 27. So let me redo it again. Okay, so what I did is actually I just put my sticky notes over here. So you can have two options on sticky note. One is either you go to the left side, tools, and then sticky notes. Okay, so you can pick the sticky notes that you want over here. Or you can also use S. You type S, so there's going to be sticky note appear. So you can bring it over here. So please bring over your activities and then try to answer this. And then you may also, while actually you do activity with your student, you may also activate the timer. So this is actually the timer. So I'm going to do 3 minutes activity. So I just click play over here. And then I can choose, for example, here, I can pick the soundtrack that I want. Energetic, upbeat, or dramatic, for example. Okay, so while allowing you to complete the activities. Okay, so you may actually try to answer this, and then go to the second part, and then go to the third part. And sometimes you can see that, oh, if let's say my students still need extra time, so you can just add on timer over here. Okay, just click button time. So you can hear the music. So I'm sharing the music, everybody can hear the music. Okay. So I can see some of the reflection over here. Today I learned about using Canva AI to generate interesting illustration into my lesson and use it to collaborate with my student. Today I learned that Canva AI is really interesting. I learned how to use Canva more efficiently. I learned how to use Canva AI, which is new for me. Okay. I learned about active learning, the Canva framework, and Canva whiteboard. Okay. Well, not exactly confused, but perhaps just need to spend time. Yes, using Canva tools ni, you need to spend some time lah. You need to do it on your own, hands-on on your own, right? But I already show you some of the features, so you may be able to um, try to use it later on. Okay, how to actually write a good prompt in Canva AI. Okay, this one is also something that you need to have prior knowledge. For those who are actually using ChatGPT or AI itself, you need to have a prior knowledge of what you want. Sometimes we don't know how to write a good prompt because we are not sure about what we want in the first place. So what we can do is we need to be very clear about, we have clarity about what we want. It's okay if let's say we just write it not in a proper sentences, because AI can really detect what we want in the first place. But if let's say you just write it very general, you don't go specific, that's why you got wrong output. So you need to be very specific in terms of what really you want. You need to be describe. You need to describe what you really want. Okay. How to use method by using only one laptop or device, right? Okay, what else? How to create a gamified site through Canva. Okay, just now I show you. Maybe I can, for example, I can share straight away right now this tab. I think you can see here. So I just create a quiz. Generate an adjective interactive quizzes for my student, 11 years old, mixed abilities, and it must have some gamification strategies involved, and it has different level for them to advance. So I just put this prompt on Canva AI, and I'll be able to create already this particular apps. Okay, so I have this adjective quiz and then adjective quest. Sorry, spot, choose, and master adjective across 3 levels. So what I can do next is actually I can start the quest. All right, the cat sat on the mat. Which one? The fluffy. All right. So the next one, she wore a beautiful. So this is actually teaching about the what mountain towered above us. Enormous. Okay. He ate a delicious sandwich for lunch. We saw colorful birds in the garden. The white river. Okay, my friend has a playful dog. They built a magnificent sandcastle on the beach. Okay, so we go to the next level. The weather today is very sunny. Okay, so yeah, so this is actually how you can create the app so that the students can play around with it. And you can also, for example, like prompt it further so that you can collect the data of the student. And of course, I'm not be able to teach you today about this thing, but you can join some of the classes that we at Scholar Malaysia provided, so you can learn about how to create all these apps, beautiful apps, and also engaging apps, interactive with the students. So, okay. Yeah, so let me check over here what else that we have. Thinking on how to control the class using Canva, like can 3 students come to the hybrid TV and write simultaneously using this app? Not really. Kalau 3 students, it has to be one at a time. You cannot control it. Of course, you can call them 3 together, but it's gonna be one at a time. How to use this method by using only one laptop or device. This one you need to allow the student to come and take turn to use it. Okay. I learned on Canva, using Canva to instill active learning. What else? I learned that I need to purchase Canva Pro. Okay. Today I learned new way of fun learning in my class. I learned about how to motivate my student effectively by using Canva. All right. So thinking on how to integrate Canva in class, gamified site, go through some scratch and get students to get involved actively. Okay, what else here? Let me check. How to control the class using Canva. Okay. All right. How to use Canva with low resource. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have exceeded the time. Let me check first if, let's say, I still have questions on the left side here. Doctor, have you ever integrated any gamification in Canva? I saw in TikTok some teacher use game in Canva. How to do it? I think as I mentioned earlier about Canva code just now, so that is actually one of the way that you can use Canva effectively. You can integrate that Canva code. But of course, I think it's gonna take some other times, another 1 hour. If let's say if you want me to share that. So, but I would encourage you, if let's say you have time, you be able to join some of the classes that we provide in Sekolah Malaysia. So let me share the screen. So if let's say if you go to the right side on the page 30, so on 23rd May, we're going to have a webinar about how to create interesting design 1 minute with ChatGPT and Canva. So this is actually also one of the things that you can learn to teach your student how to integrate Canva and AI in making like design or posters or infographic. So this is actually page 30. And if let's say you go to the next page, page 31, we are going to have, this is more on pedagogy stuff. So for example, like we are going to inspect, for example, like why the students are not engaged, and then how we can integrate Canva and AI. So it's not only Canva, but we're going to look into other tools as well. For example, like ChatGPT, Notebook LM, and we're going to actually create the workflow for a better PDP. Okay, and then we also have like Canva Code Bootcamp. So for example, like if we, let's say you are interested to create the apps, teaching apps, gaming apps for your student, and you want to use Canva Code and you want to integrate in your material, Canva Code material, we're going to have this on 4th of June. But bear in mind, this is just, this will be largely delivered in Malay, okay, dalam bahasa Melayu, but sometimes we go use English lah, that lah, okay. So if you are happy with using English or if using Malay, then you can join our webinar lah. This is gonna be on 4th June, and you can check the website over here for you to register. Okay, and then we can also have this mini bootcamp. So this is actually 2 nights mini bootcamp. So you'll be able to design a complete PDP activities with Canva and AI. Okay, so yeah, so this is actually some of the things that we doing lah for by the end of this month until next June. Okay, right. Yeah. So I think that's all from my side, and I pass it over to Dr. Betty. I think there's no more questions.
Hello, Dr. Tazli. Dr. Betty is offline at the moment.
Okay,
She's
all
no
right.
more in the live streaming. So thank you so much, Dr. Tazli, for that insightful and practical session. I'm sure many of us are already thinking about how to apply these ideas in our classrooms. Yeah, I'm also excited. I'm a retiree, but still, I love Canva a lot, actually. Yeah, and it's actually to learn more about Canva, we should explore. Am I right? Explore ourselves. Yeah, there are a lot of things that we can learn from Canva, and it's very useful. Okay, I think just now Dr. Tazli also did ask the audience to post question in your Canva, right? And there are many questions in the Canva actually, rather than in the live streaming comments here. So I'm sure there are no more. Let me check.
I think I have addressed all actually.
Yeah, yes, you have addressed all the question. You're right. So to the audience out there, okay, we had posted the attendance. Please fill the attendance okay, in order for you to get your certificates, right? So don't forget to fill the attendance, okay? Okay, so on behalf of NELCoNS and on behalf of Dr. Betty too, I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Mohammad Tazli Azizan for your valuable sharing, yeah, and all of you for being part of this session. Oh, Dr. Betty is in. Yeah, okay. We hope everyone there will
Hello.
find it useful and
Hi.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Betty, hope I'll pass to you to continue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so thank you for covering. Yeah, that is it. In Kudat, we have very bad connection at the moment.
Understand.
But what I really like from your sharing just now is the one that you said, let student uncover the syllabus. That is really powerful. Yeah, something that
Yeah.
a new perspective actually. Okay, so I hope that everyone gets something tonight. I really do. The link for e-certificate I think is now live. The attendance code is NELCoNS NELCONS _Canva. Please make sure you fill that in. The link to our Padlet, I think the technical team will share. We want to hear, to listen, to read your reflection on what we have learned tonight. And hopefully we can keep the conversation going even after the webinar session. You could also add your own post and invite others to respond in the Padlet link. So let's keep learning. Before we end, I'd like to invite all NELCoNS members and our technical team to join us on StreamYard for a final goodbye. All technical teams. Yeah, let's Dr. Hamza. Okay, for your information, Doctor, Mr. Kennedy here is the founder of NELCoNS.
Oh, okay.
He received some funding from British Council.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah. So thank you once again. Do we have a appreciation video already?
Oh, not yet.
Yeah, so let's join us for a short appreciation video as we celebrate our speaker tonight. Okay, thank you once again and have a pleasant evening and see you at our next session. Good night, everyone. Thank you
Thank
again,
you.
Doctor.
Bye.
Yeah.